the Gutenberg press of the 14th and 15th century. It is spreading thought outside of owned and regulated and state-dominated channels. And so the information that is going out, it is much simpler to believe in peace than it is to convince yourself that violence, predation, and war are somehow good for humanity. We have the simplest message, the non-initiation of force, the respect for property rights. We have the simplest, most consistent and clear message. We've been right all along. Ayn Rand was right. Aristotle and Socrates were right when they talked about the immorality and destructiveness of an immoral life. And so the fact that we have a clear message, a consistent message, a message that people can finally hear outside of state-sanctioned channels is irresistible and is going to turn the tide as long as we keep talking, as long as we keep communicating. So the system is going to come to an end, but there is a level of communication. We can now tap messages through the prison walls to each other. And we are not.
But there's going to be a big death throes. That's why they're moving worldwide to censor the web, why they're trying to demonize peaceful resistance, why the system is really trying to stage more terror attacks and stage more crises. But yes, liberty will win. The only question is, will it come sooner or later? How painful is this going to be?
I think it's going to be less painful than we think. I like what you have said many times in your show, Alex, about get to know your neighbors, get to know the people around you, develop horizontal relationships, because we so often get focused on our vertical relationships, right? Looking up at the people who are dominating us, looking down at the parasitical class that is feeding from us. The way to substitute hierarchical authority is with horizontal relationships. And the more that you get a hierarchical society, the more those horizontal relationships tend to be undermined and destroyed, and we don't look out for each other as much anymore. Developing these horizontal relationships, if you have a firm community, if you have a good circle of people around you, you do not need to fear illness. You do not need to fear poverty. You do not need to fear isolation. So you don't need to run to a government. It is developing slave-on-slave love, which sounds like a great movie, but it's developing slave-on-slave love that will free us from the tyranny.
Well, exactly, but going to Walmart and buying useless crud is not fulfilling. Going with your neighbor on a camping trip or bass fishing or to the coast is fulfilling. I mean, society is so unfulfilled. All the social studies and psychological studies show. And then people think, well, I need more crud. I need more garbage. I need, or some people I know who've never had big success, never met Hollywood stars, never met government people, never met scientists. You know, they imagine that they're unfulfilled because there's some floating island Valhalla that they haven't attained. As somebody who does know a lot of famous people and stuff, I can tell you, that is not going to fulfill you, folks. Having your own property, loving your neighbors, being involved, being able to control your own destiny, being given the responsibility to control your own destiny, that is going to make you fulfilled and strong to a point. I'm so fulfilled. I'm so happy. I've got so many ideas. I'm so fulfilled. It's almost torture, Stefan, because I can't implement all the ideas burning in my mind.
Well, but I think that people can sense happiness, and I think that we want to be gateways through which people can see the freedom, peace, and happiness of the future. We kind of have to demonstrate how a free society looks like in our own personhood, in our own interactions, and then people, I think, will get that desire for it, because a lot of people aren't open to reason, but they are open to an example, and I think people learn empirically that way, and I think that's how we communicate most.
I agree. That's why the COINTELPRO and government operatives try to tear down anybody who's positive and talks about how we can win together. They want all this infighting and dissension and negativity when really we have incredible power when we use it, and the parasites know that.
Yes, and we, of course, outnumber them vastly, and all we have to fundamentally do is say no to free them from this 10,000-year-old ridiculous pyramid that we should have outgrown when we threw out leeches for dealing with illness.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I think back to the vampire analogy. Vampires have to have helpers. Count Dracula has Renfield, and that's what the welfare class is. They are this quasi-undead, self-propelled stomachs eating at McDonald's, and I'm not saying I'm perfect either, folks. The point is I can recognize it. I can recognize what's wrong in me and what's good in me, and we've got to reach out to the Renfields and try to somehow, get them to realize the trance they're in. Stefan, stay there. I want to come back take some phone calls with you, and obviously we're going to have you back in the near future as well, and we'll give out your website.
Attention GCN listeners, do you have a Patriot on your Christmas list that's nearly impossible to shop for? How would you like the ability to get top-of-the-line, hard-to-find gifts at equally hard-to-beat prices without leaving the comfort of your home? Why fight the crowd? Simply log on to your computer for great gifts and deals for the off-the-grid enthusiast in your family. At offthegridchristmas.com, you'll find great prices on the most popular off-the-grid gifts available today. At offthegridchristmas.com, you'll find unbeatable deals on emergency backup power, herb and vegetable seeds, dehydrated foods, emergency evacuation packs, solar ovens, gun safes, and a host of truly unique stocking stuffers. In these hard times, why not give a gift that really counts? A gift that could truly make a difference. Go to offthegridchristmas.com and our Christmas video highlighting perfect gifts for the off-the-grid fans in your family. Unbeatable gear, unbeatable prices, no more searching. Offthegridchristmas.com. That's offthegridchristmas.com.
Going solar for cheap is as easy as 1, 2, 3. If you want to go solar but thought the setup costs were too high, now you can build your own solar panels for less than $200. Don't laugh. We've sold over 45,000 solar do-it-yourself kits. Watch our introduction video at 123cheapsolarvideo.com. The video is free, but it won't last long. Save money on electric bills and get off the grid. Go to 123cheapsolarvideo.com right now. Our website again is 123cheapsolarvideo.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Are you tired of police, judges, and bureaucrats using traffic tickets and other regulatory traps to trick you out of your hard-earned money? Are you sick of fraudulent bankers rigging mortgages and using the foreclosure process to steal your home? You need to visit bestfreedomtools.com. Act now to get an amazing free catalog and free DVD packed with vital information to give you the upper hand against these so-called authorities. You will learn how to overcome all traffic fines, how to stop judges in their tracks, and how to effectively combat penalty notices of all kinds without paying a penny. All the information you need to regain your health, wealth, and power is yours at bestfreedomtools.com. To get your free catalog and free DVD, call 800-880-9976. That's 800-880-9976. Or visit bestfreedomtools.com now for your free catalog and free DVD. Bestfreedomtools.com, giving you the information you need today.
Freedomain Radio is Stefan Molyneux's website. And this is the end of this current age of tyranny. The globalists believe it's the birth of an even more intense technocratic technocracy, in the words of Zbigniew Brzezinski, Newt Gingrich, David Rockefeller, and many others. So we'd better hope that everybody out there gets involved in this fight. It doesn't mean we're all going to totally agree with each other, but we know government's too big, the elites are out of control, we're having too much sucked off of us. It's time to stand up and say no. There's been a huge development on the Google censorship front, but I'm not going to get to it till our guest leaves us at about 45 after. Huge development. But I'm just going to say this. Google has backed down. I've never seen anything like this before. But, again, it shows the power that you have out there. But I'll go over it coming up. Just amazing information. Now, we got a bunch of callers here for Stefan. And this only happens about once a year. But the phone system then shut down at Genesis. It's having a few problems. But 5 phone calls got through. But that'll be it because the system shut down. We've got our own phone system here. This happens maybe once a year. But hopefully these calls will work. If not, we'll give them our number here. Kevin in Canada, you're on the air with our guest, and you're welcome to talk about anything you want. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Thanks so much for accepting my call. I'm a first-time caller. You've talked a lot about the economic state in the United States and what you see happening for the United States. You and Gerald Celente and many others have said you see a terror attack happening, you see the banks shutting down, and the American people being blamed for it. My question is, do you see a similar circumstance happening for Canada? For instance, do you see the banks shutting down? Do you see there being a terror attack? And if you do see this happening for Canada, do you see this happening this year or the next year?
Okay, well, an attack on England, an attack on France, an attack on Japan, it's used globally to take everybody's liberties. Even the governments that aren't aligned with each other use 9/11 to crack down on their population. Stefan, you take that question.
Yeah, and it's a great question. There are several indicators in the Canadian economy that are even worse than the American economy. Our housing bubble is larger than the American housing bubble was when it burst. Per capita debt is huge in Canada. One of the major differences between Canada and the United States, of course, is that Canada, relative to the U.S., has almost no military industrial complex. One of the huge challenges of dismantling a sort of violent empire, an imperialistic empire, which America is to a large degree and Canada is almost not, is that you have all of these troops, you have all of this weaponry, you have all of these people who've been trained to take orders and to point their guns at people that some guy in a green hat tells them to. So dismantling that is huge. One of the reasons that England, I believe, developed such socialist leanings after the Second World War. I mean, what a crazy tragedy to spend your youth and your blood fighting National Socialism and then to impose socialism at the end of the Second World War. Well, the problem is that you have an enormous number of people who are not very fit to work in the free market. They have been working for the government, either directly or indirectly. They have been receiving...
It's created a bunch of lazy, dumbed-down people who think it's a moral responsibility to be intellectually lazy. What do you call that phenomenon, Stefan, where people actually revel in being slobs, revel in not caring about life? They're only alive one time, and they think anybody that talks about how magic life is a joke.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, to me, that was most of my peers in graduate school. I don't know what to call it technically. So Canada's not going to have to worry about dismantling the empire. The U.S. is going to have to worry about dismantling the empire and what to do with the hundreds of thousands of mentally scarred troops who have substance abuse problems. These people got to go somewhere, and they're going to come home, and they're going to be a huge problem to manage.
Absolutely. Canada, let's go to another caller. I basically agree with what Stefan was saying there, Kevin. Good question. Catherine in New York, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hey, welcome.
Oh, thank God you can hear me. Okay. I'm going to try really hard to contain my excitement because I'm just so glad that you guys are talking about stuff that I've been saying pretty much my whole entire life. And I guess my question or my dilemma actually, because again you guys were just saying it about Stefan just mentioned about horizontal relationships. I mean, again, that's pretty much where I feel pretty trapped, I guess you could say, is because I didn't grow up in a family. I literally felt, I've known this stuff my whole life, and that my own family basically was they kind of really pinned against one another. And all I've tried to do
we've been trained by the social engineers, men against women, women against men, black against white, Catholic against Protestant, Muslim against Jew, Jew against Muslim. And again, they use that to compartmentalize. Stay there, Catherine. We're going to come back and get Stefan's take on what you were saying. Then I've got the big Google news in our fight with those guys trying to censor us. We've had a victory on one front, not on the other front yet. Google search term, Google evil. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.